Welcome to the Dr. Nikki Starr Show, a podcast focused on spirituality, personal development, healing, and transformation to inspire you to live your ultimate potential and an epic life. I'm your host, Dr. Nikki Starr, a former medical doctor born into a lineage of Colombian shamans and healers with a mission to reach millions of people for the healing and awakening of humankind to co-create heaven on earth. As a spiritual teacher, transformational life coach, shamanic healer, and energy strategist, I am passionate about empowering people to connect to your multidimensional aspects and your creator power to live your highest potential timeline with more ease and grace. Every week, we cover topics in all areas of life, including love, relationships, career, business, mindset, manifestation, esotericism, wellness, and more. Thank you so much for being here. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Dr. Nikki Starr Show. I'm Dr. Nikki Starr, your host, and today we are going to be talking about divine union and the healing of the man-woman relationship. Now, I just want to share a disclaimer before getting into this episode. I'm going to be speaking from the perspective of a heterosexual female, but I'm always LGBT friendly. And so anything I'm talking about divine union does apply to any form of relationship in any way of gender and relating, etc., in romantic union. When I speak of the healing of the man-woman relationship, I am speaking specifically about the karma between men and women, between the masculine and the feminine. And in a sense, if it's between the masculine and feminine, even in a homosexual relationship, for example, whoever identifies as the feminine being can relate to aspects of the feminine, and whoever identifies with aspects of the masculine can relate to aspects of the masculine. But in general, the way I'm going to be speaking is in the context of heterosexual relationship. But if you are in a homosexual relationship or of any other kind, feel free to interpret the data and the things that I'm saying and the information, more like the information, the wisdom, less data, because this isn't so much about research from science, but this is about research from spirituality. So feel free to interpret as you do. And thank you for being here as well. And so with that, let us dive in. So what is divine union? So divine union is when we enter into a romantic relationship, and it is in support of our greatest becoming. It is nourishing for our nervous system. It is healing. It is supportive. It is like the heaven on earth of relationships. It is like, I feel it's the relationship that we all dream of having. It's if anything, it's like the level of the fantasy that you have in your mind, in my opinion, is divine union. And oftentimes divine union comes after you have done your healing work. When you have done a lot of the work to heal and clear your karma, your triggers, your shadows, and then you enter into a union that is more supportive and complementary and less about fighting and toxicity. So any kind of toxic relationship. And I really do my best not to label relationships like as toxic or this and that. We could say anywhere that you're hurting each other in relationship. And this can come just because we don't know any better. And this can come more so because we're hurt and wounded. And oftentimes triggers happen just because we actually want to be loved. I feel like most people are getting triggered because there's some aspect that's connected to wanting to be loved. Because if you're triggered around an abandonment wound, it's like you don't want the person to abandon you because you want to be loved. If you're triggered around jealousy, it's like it's because you want to be loved and you want to keep the love of the relationship, you get triggered into the jealousy. So I truly believe the underlying current of everything is love. So divine union is when we get to this ultimate relationship where it is a healing space. It is serving and supportive for both people. And it doesn't mean that you don't disagree, but you do it in a way that's really respectful. And there is the highest level of relating. It's like you interact with each other as kings and queens. So even the tone of voice, the way you interact, the things you do, the things you say, you're even more mindful with that level of partnership because you want to do no harm. And the reason I'm bringing up this topic today is I'm really inspired at this moment in time. I'm about to, in August, cross the threshold of a year with my beloved. And we have co-created a course together called The Journey to the Beloved. And it is launching in the beginning of July. So at the filming of this podcast, it is the first time it will be filmed, and it's launching in the beginning of July 2023. And I wanted to share a podcast that speaks to the background and the intention of this, so that if anyone is interested in joining, that you can do so. And then, of course, the recordings will be available for future people who wish to participate. And I'm sure there'll be some interaction in the form of a Q&A or whatever that's in present time. But I am so called because it is one of my missions and purposes on the planet, which is the healing of the man-woman relationship. So as a feminine, I feel most called to heal and work with feminine beings and women because that's what I am. But of course, I have male clients and men that work with me as well. But the work that's done in relationship for men and women is different based on our different karmas and the different things that affect us and what we've lived and experienced. So I felt like now's the time to really talk about this. And so I kind of bumped it up on the list of all the other podcasts because it felt very timely. So even if you're listening after July 5th, if you're listening in July and August, you can join at any time, and even beyond, I will still make it available. And the reason why the man-woman relationship is so important to me is I feel that it is one of my missions on the planet. That I have lived many lives as a woman. I have lived many lives in divine union. And I have even been a part of lineages of tantric union, tantric belovedship, where the other aspect of divine union that I want to talk about is where you use your relationship and the path of love as the path to enlightenment. So basically, your partnership becomes your spiritual path. And this is one of the highest paths, in my opinion, because you can be seeming enlightened when you are in a cave all by yourself, or you're not around that many people and like living this pious life in nature. It's like easy not to get triggered. So how do we really know at the level you are at with your evolution? In my opinion, enlightenment is reaching a state where you're the embodiment of ultimate love and compassion. And no matter what is happening around you, you are the ultimate love and compassion. So in my opinion, when we're using love and relationship as the path for our spiritual ascension, it's, for me, I think, the most challenging path. Why? Because when you're in divine union, or even just in relationship in general, you have a constant mirror there. Someone you're with, you spend the most time with, you sleep next to every night, you do all things together, that it's more likely for you to get triggered, and you're able to look at and see yourself. And if you have shadow, I mean, we all have shadows, what makes that, or in human form. I feel like we're digging deeper and deeper. It's like layers of onions that we're peeling off as we go through our evolution and enlightenment and healing and awakening journey. And when you have the mirror of a relationship, you cannot hide. There is no part of yourself that you will not see. Because if you get triggered and you lash out and your tone of your voice, or you elevate your voice and you see how your partner responds, you take that feedback in, and it hurts you to see you hurting someone else. So you see that shadow aspect of yourself. And especially when you love someone, there's this commitment and desire to want to be your best. Of course, you never want to hurt anyone. You do not want to hurt your beloved. You want to evolve and be the most love that you can be. And as my beloved says, it's like, be better and better every day. And when there's that willingness and that commitment, that is foundational for divine union. So both partners are desiring this this divine union, this ultimate relationship. And I feel like when you meet someone that wants it just as much as you want it and has that willingness just as much as you have that willingness, and you have the three levels of attraction, which I like to call the mental intellect, the heart, the spirit, the soul connection, the love connection, and then that sexual connection where there's that chemistry. To have all three with a person, I have experienced to be very rare. And even in working with my clients and even with conversing with other people, to find someone with all three that you never really get sick of. But when you find that person and they're willing and they want to go on the journey, and you're willing and you're wanting to go on the journey, that path of alchemy and transformation and transmutation and healing and ascension is so rewarding. Can it be painful and challenging in moments? Absolutely, because especially when you begin to love someone so much, they touch you so deeply. And you could have thought you were enlightened before or really not been that affected by people. But then when you find this person who can touch you and affect you so deeply, this is what can catalyze intense transformation, healing, evolution, and ascension. And so I remember even before my spiritual awakening, but especially right at my spiritual awakening, I felt like I know that I am destined for this divine union, ultimate love. And I've lived it in many lives before. And oftentimes we think of that ultimate relationship as like the twin flame. And the idea of the twin flame is the person who's the other half of your soul. And oftentimes as twin flames, you can either be very complementary. So it's like your yin and yang, right? Because you're two halves of a whole. Or you can be very similar in your journey, like almost like parallel paths because you share a similar soul. And the truth is, I don't feel like there's any one way. What I do feel about the twin flame is that this is the person that can catalyze the most healing and transformation in you. And depending on how much work you have done on yourself, it can either be a pleasurable or a painful process. And it's also not dependent on only the level of work you've done on yourself, but the level of work with which your twin has done his or her work. It's almost like fire. That's why it's called the twin flame, because we think of the fire as this transformational catalytic element that can change something from one form to another, that can burn away what's not serving, that can burn away the shadows, that can bring light to the dark places. And so the journey of the twin flame can be very painful, but also very rewarding, especially if you're able to transmute into divine complements. And so divine complements, I feel, are when you get to that point of divine union, where you're no longer fighting in the battlefield and being those diamonds that are creating each other, like banging against each other and to become that sparkling essence, right? And I have gone through that journey myself in my current relationship. And it has been painful and challenging, but it also has been extremely rewarding to experience the level of love and the level of creating a life together that we've stepped into. And we have arrived at this level where we're like, wow, we're here. This level of divine union that we're like, okay, it's our responsibility and desire and joy to share it with the world. And also because we have seen how our love inspires other people wherever we go. And whenever we share our story, and not the fact that it was like rainbows and unicorns and roses and sparkles in every single moment since the beginning. Absolutely no. We had many times of coming apart, coming back together, breaking up, getting back together, and it really served as time for integration. But given the level of evolution that we both were at with how to manage things, we just thought, okay, that's it, it's over. But really, it was just a time needed for integration. And, in this course, I share so many rituals and things I did on the energetic levels and on the soul level to support whatever was for the highest and best good if it was the two of us coming together. And also trusting what the universe brings and being able to really live in the moment and see how the energy is shifting in real time to give us information if it is meant for us to move forward. And then eventually moving beyond that twin flame challenging energy and then stepping into more of the divine complement energy. And that divine complement energy, when you're in divine union, is where you help each other's mission. You help each other become better versions of each other. So it's not that what we could say karmic. So a more PC, like politically correct terminology for a quote unquote toxic relationship, we could say is a karmic relationship, where you have things from the past that have not been resolved yet. When I mean past, I mean past lives. And that karma must be resolved in this life. And that's why there's often this intense attraction, but it can be a painful experience because there's certain karmas that still need to heal. And the interesting thing is just as fast as it burns, it can fizzle out, because the moment you learn the lessons, you heal the karma or create new karma, the attraction can go away. It's like you were so into each other and that magnetism was needed to bring you together to work out the karma. And then the moment you did the work, it's like, okay, I'm complete now. And every single relationship is serving, like romantic relationships, friendships, family relationships. We have a lot of family, we have a lot of karma with family. So oftentimes you might find that some of your family relationships are challenging. So essentially anywhere where there's karma, we can experience a challenge in relationships. And the fact that we are drivers and the bosses of our reality and the creators of our reality, the more we take responsibility for our healing, our evolution, our becoming, the easier our relationships become. Because as we heal ourselves, we affect everything in relation to us. So you can enhance a relationship just by healing yourself. Your partner or whoever in your life doesn't even need to do anything, but just by you shifting, they shift. And this is also what we call it polarity. So in divine union, you are in a polarity where you polarize the best elements of each other. And even in divine union with my partner, the softer I am, the more he is in love and not triggered, etc. But the moment I become bossy or I become controlling, it can trigger him out of his divine masculine into another kind of masculine energy that can be more not as soft to the nervous system, right? And so it's really important to take responsibility to see how we're polarizing each other in relationship. And this is often sometimes something that people don't realize. And this is speaking to the testament of that every person brings something different out of another person in relationship. So for example, who I am in one relationship could be different to who I am in another relationship, and then different again. But oftentimes when we see the pattern of the aspects of where I'm the same in all my relationships, that's a reflection of me. So same script, different cast. If I'm living out the same kinds of experiences over and over and over again, that's me. That's my pattern. That's my responsibility. But if I'm observing that I'm having different experiences in every single relationship, I'm really living the moment and allowing this relationship dynamic to guide who I'm being and expressing, because everything is a co-creation. But of course, I have my innate characteristics, and we all have our innate aspects of shadow and light and skills and abilities and weaknesses. And it's just what being human is about. But there is that match, and that's your divine complement match that really is meant to bring out the best in you. And I believe that love creates miracles. So even with that, your love can create such powerful miracles that even if you found yourself in a challenging twin flame relationship that you might want to call toxic, that through love and through a commitment to heal on both sides and through the continued evolution, you can get there. And I feel like I had to go through that journey myself so that I could be able to share and teach about it. And I always knew that like my ultimate love would not be easy, because I meant to teach this work. So I need to get in the ring and I need to have the real experience so that I can best guide others. And even though I've been a student of masculine, feminine polarity work, I've been a student of relationships, I have been a coach for relationships since I've been starting with coaching back in 2013. I've always had couples as clients as well, because I have the codes not just from this life, but from past lives. And being all of the lineage of Mary Magdalene and Yeshua, they were divine union couple. And when I say Yeshua, I mean that who is known as Jesus, him who was known as Jesus. He was just a regular person, and him and Mary Magdalene were in tantric relationship. And they really had a beautiful union that helped them fuel their energy bodies, that then was the energy healing work that helped heal so many people and create so many quote unquote miracles. But really, they were just using energy and energy work to live their lives in a way that was aligned, but also in a way that was with synchronicity. And this is what happens when you're in your divine union, your divine complement relationship, is so many opportunities magnetized to you. So many opportunities to share your light, your love, your gifts with the world in a way that brings even more love to other people. And that is also when you know you're in divine union, is because your love inspires other people. And it's such a gift to share with the world. And even in the Tao, there is the talk of how it's at the basis of a peaceful world is the couple that is in love and in harmony and at peace, because that is what creates harmony and union in the home. And that's what creates harmony and union in the town. And then that's what creates harmony and union in the country and then across the whole world. So living in that frequency of divine love and divine harmony with all that is begins with us first. And when we are in right relation and harmony with ourselves through our own personal development and healing work, then we can come into union with another. And then that becomes the seed through which family is created, and then community is created, and then nations are created, and then a whole peaceful world. So this is also why I feel my mission is with the healing of the man-woman relationship, because it is the seed relationship of all other relationships. And of course, the relationship with ourselves is first, and the healing of an awakening of humankind happens through each other. That's why we're called humankind. We are a social entity. We're social beings. So we cannot ascend and evolve and heal without the other. And also we have that responsibility not to hurt and continue to create karma. And so through eons, there is so much that has happened between the man-woman relationship in times of war. And it's both sides. You know, there has been a lot of feminist culture that has made the masculine to only look like the only culprit in terms of creating damage or harm. Even though right now we are living in a time with a paradigm of masculinity that is called like the patriarchy, which we could say is a form of toxic masculinity that has kept people suppressed, that has created wars, etc. And we have seen violence against women, etc. But in another time, women, the feminine, has been manipulative to the masculine. And we women as well have abused our powers, and women too have hurt men. It goes both ways. And it's so important for both parties. So both parties have, from a karmic perspective, have a lack of trust in each other. Both parties have hurt each other. And the healing of the man-woman relationship is to heal all of that and come back to peace and unity. And remember that we're complements. We, the feminine, need the masculine, and the masculine needs the feminine. And it's beautiful. It's not codependent. It's the symbiosis of nature. It's how nature intended. Just like we need each other to procreate. Our pieces fit together, lock and key. So we're just as important. We're equally powerful, but different. The masculine has its power and its skills and abilities that are different from the feminines. You know, that's why there's certain traits that are considered feminine traits, and there's certain traits that are considered masculine traits. And as an individual, we both have masculine and feminine energies, and an aspect of individual alignment. Enlightenment is also the balance of the masculine and the feminine energies together, and then operating from this androgynous space. But then when we enter into relationship, to have more of a complement energy is one person embodying masculine energy, the other person embodying more feminine energy, but in different moments of time. And so I do think that in the divine union, it's like both are leaders. And even, you know, actually it's funny because today in my relationship, we were talking about how we really both lead the relationship, and in different ways and for different things and at different times. And we know how to make it work because we know what's really important for one person versus the other person. And so we know when to lean back and when to allow one person to lead or the other. And this is really that dance of divine union. It's not like one person is the boss and one person is in control and one person is in charge. That's not divine union, right? So this balance and this dance and this complement of the two energies is really the goal and is the highest form because each person has different gifts and abilities in different genres of life. So both of you sharing the steering wheel is really ideal. Now, before entering into divine union, it's so important for a feminine being to heal your relationship with the masculine and a masculine being to heal your relationship with the feminine. And what's very interesting is based on your karma, you may experience the same thing over and over and over again. So for example, if you are a feminine being and there's infidelity in your lineage, you could easily inherit those codes and then come into experience infidelity, or not even infidelity, but a form of betrayal. So in that betrayal energy, you continue to perpetuate until it's healed. And how you heal that is to come and now there's many ways to do this through contract work, through energy healing, to clear, and also from separation of your lineage line. Like and this is a lot of what I do in my one-to-one work with clients and also in my programs. And through energy healing work, through contract work, through timeline healing work, through certain rituals you can do with the masculine, rituals you can do with yourself, using energy healing to clear the vibrations and frequencies that are stuck in the body or in the aura or in the fields, and even shifting mindsets, certain belief systems that are ingrained. We want to cancel, clear those and imprint new thoughts and belief systems. And this is some of the work that we do in the Journey to the Beloved, which is the online course that I've created with my beloved as well. And so that healing work needs to happen, and you need to come into that trust. And the relationship can help you come into even more of that trust. But it's so important to really get there before. And every single relationship serves you on your journey to the beloved. So as you begin to build more trust, etc., you start to have the experience of more trust. So oftentimes the shift has to happen first, like the choice to trust, before you actually experience it. And so for women on the flip side, it's like if you are someone who emasculates men, you may have and you might not even know you're doing it. You might have the experience of like, why do men treat me like this? Or why don't I have this experience with men that I know I can have? Like, you don't know what you may be doing to polarize them to interact with you in a certain way. So it's taking full responsibility. And then vice versa. I've even known men that have had challenging karma with women and have known women to be cheaters, and that every woman cheats and women are unfaithful. And then they go and they have this experience and they continue having this experience because they were born with it, because it came from their lineage. They then had this belief system, this witnessing of it. And every single time they went into relationships or witness other people's relationship, it was like a self-fulfilling prophecy that kept being experienced. And then going on a journey to heal that, to then have experiences where they felt they could really trust in a woman that she would be loyal to them and not like manipulative or just trying to take or get things for her personal gain. So it's been so fascinating to witness the wounds and the traumas from both sides. And then vice versa too, of, any form of hurting the other sex or the other, the masculine hurting the feminine or the feminine hurting the masculine. And really the choice to not be a part of that anymore, to end the war of all wars and to come into divine union and choose to respect and even worship the other. Because the gift of the feminine is her vision, her intuition, her beingness, her softness. being a feminine being, when you're truly a feminine being and you're soft and you're radiant, you're like a flower. You're like a beautiful flower that people just want to be around. It's just your energy is nice. It's like, it's like sunlight. It's like water. And this is nurturing. Nourishing and nurturing. I made up a word. Nurturing. This is nurturing and nourishing to the masculine being. Your gift is your beingness, your feminine radiance. That alone, just like the feminine radiance of a flower. You are a flower in your most divine form as feminine. And for the masculine, your gifts are your focus and your determination, your ability to get things done when you are laser focused, and your strength. Like even the upper body strength of the masculine or of a male being is unparalleled to a feminine being, even if you're bodybuilders, both of you. And so women need men to help them, and I think there's a lot of this like, oh, women don't need men. And I don't believe that's true. I don't know. If you're anything like me, like I love to have a strong man's presence to do the things that are harder for me to do. Like I don't want to carry the heavy groceries and have to open the jar when it's really tight and I'm banging it on the counter. It's nice, even these little things, like it makes you, and even when it's like that help to carry the groceries or do the things so that I don't have to exert all of that energy and go into my masculine energy and I can stay soft. Like for me, that's such a huge gift. And what a small thing that is. Masculine beings, for them, that's such a small thing, but it's such a gift, in my opinion, as I've softened more and more to my feminine. And I used to be someone that was like, oh, no, I don't need help with carrying the groceries. And as I've learned how to receive and soften into my feminine, anytime I'm offered help, I'm like, yes, please, thank you. And that coming into interdependence in divine union, which is allowing each other to help each other, not needing to be that hyper independence anymore, or not needing to be that codependent anymore where you need the person, but more like, wow, like you're so amazing. You enhance my life, and us together is even better. And this is that energy of divine union. And divine union, as I mentioned, in it being a spiritual path that leads you both to your ascension, to your greatest evolution, to your ultimate timeline, to your greatest potential. This is the goal of divine union. And the way in which you go about it can be different for every couple, and creating those rules and agreements. We go into modules of this. And so this course is also for the person, the couple that is creating their relationship to the beginning of a relationship, or if you're single, because we go through the whole phase of the journey to the beloved. And this course is for women, and we will probably create a course for men eventually as well. But this one is geared towards women because some of the modules around healing, there's women, when we're healing to come into our divine union, you want to soften as much as possible. And men, when you're coming into your divine union, you want to be as grounded and like that masculine rock of stillness. So we want to be different polarities. So the healing is different for the masculine. And so they are different courses. And then eventually, so we'll create a couple one. But the idea is to really choose to be the best you, choose to do your healing and your personal development work. And then with that, you can find another who's wanting and willing and is already on their personal journey and wants to join you on the journey together. And then it's like an exponential transformation, especially when you're both healing and committed to the healing together in union. And the reason why doing it in union is so powerful too, because of the tantric element. So our sexual energies can be used for healing, awakening, and transformation. And so in divine union, you are entering more into a tantric sexual union. So it's not just about the pleasure. Of course it is pleasurable and all of those things, but it's how that energy is being used to heal, transform, evolve your energies as individuals and as a couple. And even fueling that energy into your creations. So in divine union, you're actually a very creative couple. You're actually both very prolific in whatever it is that you do, because the sexual energies feed both of your energies to do more and create more in the world. And so for anyone on a spiritual path, I highly recommend divine union. Choosing love as also your teacher and your path of ascension. And then with that, to enter into a divine union, it is a must. You will, as a byproduct, heal the man-woman relationship, because you must do that in order to pass into the gates of divine union. You hear of the guardians of the twin flame. You may, if you are connected to divine union, or you studied it, or if you read about it, or if you come from the lineages of it. And there are these couples throughout history who are the embodiment of divine union, where you can say history was made through their union and their energy fields. And Mary Magdalene, Yeshua, Mary Magdalene and Jesus were one. Isis and Osiris of Egypt were another. And then Lady Portia and Saint Germain were also another. And they're the guardians of the violet flame. And in the violet flame, I'll talk more about that and how we can use it for healing and transformation in this course as well. So I share this to say there's energetic support to support this frequency of divine union, because having that masculine energy and feminine energy come into union is a very potent force. It is like all of the energies of creation coming together. Just like a child is created through the union of the masculine and feminine, then a new life is birthed. Imagine the codes of creation when you come into divine union. And even when we look at some of the most successful billionaires and millionaires and people who created epic things, usually they were not by themselves. And even there's the book, I think it's Think and Grow Rich. I believe it's that book. There's even a chapter on sex magic and divine union. And so they don't call it divine union, but they talk about being in a relationship. Because when you're in that relationship, it's very supportive, and that the complement energies of your partner only feed and support your mission in your life and everything you're creating. It's like you have an in-house mastermind, someone to even from a mental perspective bounce off ideas with, etc. And then from that nourishing love that you experience together, and then the magic that can create it through your sexual energies together. So it is, even for a life experience, it's not only pleasurable and healing and beautiful and nourishing when you're in divine union, it's also strategic for your mission, for your life, for your ascension. So finding that beloved partnership, and even to anyone who may be single right now, and I was single for many years, and it was beautiful. I got to really know myself and really know who I am, and go on my journey, on my solo journey at a fast pace, and be super, and I use the word selfish, not in a bad way, but in a good way, like be really centered in myself so that I could be the best me to then attract in a perfect match and complement. And I ended up attracting a very powerful person who had a completely different life experience and different life skills than me, so that we could be a more potent force together, because we have complementary skills, not exactly the same skills. And so that time by myself was great. And he had time by himself too, which is great. And there were moments that, being single, and even, I think what I want to say is like, love is the most important thing on the planet. So don't fool yourself as a defense mechanism to say, well, like, I'm happy being single. Of course, you're happy being single, but I do think that it's important to choose a partner in life to go the distance with, because so much of your healing and transformation and just the joy of sharing life and that bliss and ecstasy and intoxication that you'll experience through your divine union is just worth it alone. And that is really the mission, because the more there's love frequency on the planet, and this is what the Tao is speaking of, the more love frequency is on the planet, it's like, we don't even want to fight. Like, what is there to fight about? We're in love. Did you ever notice, like, when you're in love, like, nothing even bothers you? So what if you were in that relationship? And even if you're in a relationship now and it's not that level, you can get it there if you both desire it. And if you're the feminine being, this course will help you. But if you're the feminine being too, you know that you can just evolve and shift. And he doesn't even have to do much, but your beingness and your energy shift will catalyze a shift in your partner. And if you're a male and you find this interesting, you can still do aspects of the course with your partner. If this is something that interests you to go on divine union, this is a great place for your partner to begin, assuming she also wants this and is willing, or maybe she's never heard of it, but it is something that is so rewarding. And can it be challenging? Yes, because they say that intimacy, right? And even in the word, look at it, intimacy, into me, I see, is like the ultimate battleground. When we're in love and intimate with another, we can go the deepest into ourselves, and we can get to the source point of our wounds because we feel that love in our belovedship. Because of that love, like love is the glue so that you can go to those places to heal and let go, so that you can rise to your ultimate level. And it can be scary to like let love in, and it can be scary to fully surrender and to someone else, and to really just let all your guards down and all your defenses down, and just to be, and just let yourself be fully seen. But when you allow it, it's the greatest pleasure you'll ever know. And so it's a must. So I am the spokesperson of Divine Union, please. And it is not an accident that when I was on the Fox reality show that they named me Dr. Love. And even before I was on the Fox reality show, I had people in New York City telling me, because I was, in medical school and then did my residency. And even though I wanted to do dermatology, people were like, you should be a sex doctor, because knowing how this is such a therapeutic space, it's not just for pleasure or just this act that you do, but there's so much more there for us from a healing perspective, from a transformation perspective, from a connection perspective. And so Dr. Love, I feel, is the perfect title, mainly because of this divine union aspect. Also my past lives and being part of that Isis Osiris line, which Jesus and Mary Magdalene are part of that same line. Like, this is a code of relationship that comes down from the beginning of time. Like the union of the God goddess, the union of the masculine feminine to the Most High, to support you in elevating to the Most High. And this frequency, love, is the ultimate frequency. A frequency that will heal our planet, that does heal our planet, is the frequency that creates miracles. Manifestation in love is the goal. And so our lives are more complete when we're living and embodying this love every day. And it's so sweet, and it's so nourishing, and it's so healing. So it's my prescription for everyone, is this love of divine union. And it happens through the healing of the man-woman relationship. And that begins with you. So make that commitment. However you can heal your relationship to the masculine if you are a woman. And if you are a man, however you can heal your relationship to the feminine. Whatever it is, do the healing work. Now that we've spoken of this, the synchronicity will come. Whether you see a reel or a post, or you see a book or something's going to come. Things will come, whether this course speaks to you. I also have my Ultimate Relationships course that I created way back when. And so I'll put both of these courses in the show notes. And I just invite you, implore you, inspire you, may it motivate you to go on this journey to love, to the beloved, because you are the beloved. It's just a mirror. And that deep love we're all meant to experience in our lives. And so I hope and I trust and I know that today's podcast really inspired even more love in your heart, even more of a commitment for you to rise into divine union in your current relationship, or to choose it for your next relationship, and to do the healing work that's required for you to get there and to be there and to stay there. Because it is a state of being. It's something that we can attain and reach, and then we can come back into that human form and that challenge, and the challenge of relationship if people's egos are not in check, etc. Doesn't mean you're there forever, but if you have moments of it, and then those moments can grow and grow and grow, and then you're basically living it baseline. And this is when we're meant to transcend beyond that duality and polarity, because union is the opposite of polarity. Right? So that divine union is the goal of our enlightenment, of our awakening, of our ascension in this life. And it happens through love. And so with that, I'm Dr. Love. I'm Dr. Nikki Starr. Thank you so much for being here. I send you so much love. Big kiss. And I will see you next time. Bye for now. Thank you so much for joining me today. Be sure to follow and subscribe to the podcast on your favorite platform and tune in every Friday for a new episode. Spread the love and share this episode with someone who may benefit. So much love to you, and remember who you are.